Hey everybody, and welcome to Wolfkin's Tabletop Lone Wolfkins. So what this is a solo play adventure. So I've been kind of interested about these before, so I figured I would give it a try, bring you all along for the ride with me. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing here today. I'm playing the Death Knight's Squire. This is a 5e solo adventure. I bought this off of the DM's Guild. You can see right here it's by Paul Bimler. So, if something, there might be spoilers since we're going to be playing through it, but if you do like this, they have a whole series of these over on the DM's Guild for you to check out if you're interested. And I've never played anything like this before. All of my tabletop gaming has been with a group, as you know, from all the actual plays you've seen here. But we're going to see how this goes. So, yeah, let me just go ahead and get started and tell you about a little bit about the character that I'm going to be playing. I have rolled up, this is an adventure for a level 2 character, so it's probably going to die. But I have done Yariel Lildak. They are a Dragonborn Sorcerer. I've made them with the 2024 rule set, so I have not yet picked my my Sorcerer subclass, but I will be doing the Draconic origin because he's a Dragonborn, so that just seems to make sense. His background, he is a Wayfarer. He is a Wayfarer. So he grew up on the streets surrounded by similarly ill-fated cast-offs, a few of them friends and a few of them rivals. I slept where I could and did some odd jobs for food. At times, when the hunger became unbearable, I resorted to some petty theft. Now, in my mind, he has been cast out by his family for one reason or another, probably because of the innate sorcerer's abilities that he's had. This caused him to have to live on the streets for a while. So he's pretty good at stealth. So my proficiencies that I took Arcana, Insight. I figured I'd need to be good at reading people if I was going to be a Wayfarer. Persuasion. I have to be able to talk people into doing what I want them to do, and stealth, of course. Okay, let's go over my spells. I have Mage Hand, Mind Sliver. I always want to call that Mind Silver. Shocking Grasp, and of course, Sorcerer's Burst. I'm having trouble talking today. This is a great new spell from the 2024. It's specifically for sorcerers. It's amazing. It leans into that whole chaotic nature of the sorcerer. Speaking of which, first level spells I took Chaos Bolt, Chromatic Orb, Detect Magic, and Mage Armor. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that I have that on. So, little view of what's going on here on the screen. Over there, over there, you'll see I'm going to have up the actual book that we're reading through just so you can see how it plays and how we're going through it. I've got a picture of my character there, and then I've got the rolls that I'm going to be doing over there. So I'll be rolling whenever it tells me to for the monsters, as though I was playing the DM. And then there are a couple maps; those will be down below. It'll kind of replace that the little title sequence whenever we get there. So that's it. You want to dive in and just see how this plays because I'm so curious. I'm so curious. So this I've read through this. This is basically just an introduction on how some of this is played. Basically, D&D 5e. It kind of walks us through. It's going to ask us to make decisions like it would in a like one of those books, kind of like Community Dungeon, which will be coming back soon. I promise. It asks us to be honest and fair. That's what you're here for, to make sure I don't cheat. And ask what would a DM do. I think I can I think I can handle that. Character creation, level 2. I did do it with the 2024 rules, so I don't know how that'll affect the balancing of this, but we'll see. All right, let's just get started with the backstory. Our arrival in Orlbar. Man, I really need to be able to talk better to do this, don't I? Okay. It is the year 1349 DR, in the month of Deep Winter. You've been on the road for nearly 2 months now, and snow hangs thick on the trees as you make your way towards the town of Orlbar, at the foot of the Grey Peak Mountains. The Grey Peaks are known throughout Faerun for their silver and iron mines, but it's a different type of metal that brought you here. Gold. I like the sound of that. While you were in Neverwinter, you overheard rumors of a large hoard of treasure within an abandoned goblin keep. Even tavern rumors prove to be fruitful sometimes, and having been without a purpose for some months, you departed immediately for the Grey Vale. When you reach Orlbar, the air is brisk and the town is busy. Carts carry all manner of goods, timber, wool bales, grains, and animals from the surrounding country. Some goods would be bound for Waterdeep or Neverwinter, others for the nearby city of Loudwater. Hungry and thirsty after many days on the road, you enter the first tavern you see, the Woodman's Retreat. So with that, let's stop this music for just a second. I'm going to be trying to do the music live too, so you gotta bear with me. And I've not pre-read any of this, so we're just gonna have to do it as it comes. Let's get some tavern stuff going. So, we've made our way into the Woodsman's Retreat to satisfy our cravings. Bread, cheese, and hot mulled wine do the trick nicely. You then inquire from the barkeep about accommodation. Your bones ache and rest is essential. The mountains can wait 1 or 2 days while you rest and replenish your supplies in town. The barkeep tells you that a very respectable inn, the Silver Flask, is just nearby. Toting your backpack, you walk down the street to the Silver Flask and pay for a room. The innkeeper is a jolly woman who is glad to have your business, but she lights a cozy fire in the room. You bathe, then lie down to rest and soon fall into a deep sleep. It's been a while since your travel-hardened self has had any clean sheets and a roof overhead. You are awoken later that night by a noise from the next room. You can hear a woman opening... Man, what is wrong with me today? You can hear a woman openly sobbing on the other side of the wall. The sound is gut-wrenching. Every now and then a male voice says something as if trying to comfort her. You tolerate this for a while, but eventually it becomes evident that sleep is going to be impossible, and you walk out in the hallway and knock on the door to the room next to yours. An elderly man answers. He's dressed finely, like a member of the aristocracy, but sports a nasty black eye and a gash across his cheek. In the background, a woman, also richly dressed, sits on a chair by the fire, her face buried in her hands. "Yes, what is it?" the elderly gentleman asks directly. You straighten yourself up, peering into the room. "I was wondering what all the noise was about," you say, although now you don't feel quite so annoyed. "I could hear you crying from next door. I was wondering," you say gruffly, not used to dealing with aristocrats, "if it's anything I can help you with. Perhaps then we can all get some rest." At this, the woman looks up and sees you. You probably look a fright after all those weeks on the road. Ungroomed, hair disheveled. I don't have hair. Travel-worn clothes, but you've had a bath, so you at least don't smell bad. That's good. I don't even want to imagine what like old crusty Dragonborn smells like. Okay. However, your type has an air about them. Oh, my type, Dragonborn. Okay. You've seen a fight or two, and you know how to handle yourself in most situations. You're what's known in these parts as the adventuring type. Such types generally know how to get things done, things that others might shy away from. "Show our guests in, Elric," the woman says weakly, drying her tears with a silk handkerchief. The mysterious night. You're shown to a chair. For some reason, this old couple, who introduce themselves as Lord and Lady Brumont, welcome your presence, if only as a distraction from the grief they seem consumed by. "We arrived here last night," Lady Brumont begins. "Elric is so busy these days, so we thought we would bring ourselves out to Orlbar for a nice little holiday. Our son, he's so fond of the mountains, loves all the stories. Well, he's our grandson, really. The son of our daughter, who died some years ago. He's all we have left of her. We call him our son." Lady Brumont begins sobbing once more. Elric Brumont picks up the thread. "Long story short, my friend, we were accosted on the highway. We were passing along a lonely stretch of road when he appeared from nowhere. A knight, towering brute of a man, all clad in armor." Lord Elric points to his face. "Did this to me. Knocked me out cold. Then he grabbed our boy, threw him on a horse, and bolted. Without a word." You say, mulling over the information. "Did he seem familiar, the knight?" Elric shakes his head. "I know what you're thinking. Well, the aristocrat on holiday from Loudwater. Someone must have known we were coming here and seized the opportunity. It's true. I am what would you call a public figure. It is well known in Loudwater, at least, that I'm a wealthy man. But no, this night was something else. We didn't see his face. It was hidden by a great metal visor. Towering warrior he was, a hulk of a man. Lady Brumont speaks again. And he has kidnapped our poor little Derek. Abducted him, just ripped him out of our grasp. What did you do then? You ask. We came straight to Orlbar, Lady Brumont says. We went to the captain of the guard, but he... A thoroughly incompetent fool, Lord Brumont growls. Said this knight was a ghost, that he'd chosen Derek as his squire. And that there's nothing we could do about it. Said Derek wasn't the first. Called him the Death Knight. You can imagine what a comfort that was to us. They say the knight lives in the wood nearby, Lady Brumont says airily, as if in a waking dream. Weathercote Wood, isn't it, dear? The old man grits his teeth, staring into the fire, and punches his palm. Ghost my arse, he snarls through gritted teeth. That knight looked real enough to me. He's a lunatic, nothing more. A lunatic who kidnaps young boys, and when I find that blackguard, by gods, he'll pay. You can't help thinking that Lord Brumont is a bit out of his depth here. You don't doubt his resolve, but he looks as though his days of conquest are well behind him. You feel for the poor old couple. While not usually associating with the wealthy, you do know that you have something to offer them. And you're never one to shy away from a good adventure, especially when the chance of reward is on the table. I can find your boy, you hear yourself saying. The woman looks up, and a new hope begins to shine in her eyes. You can watch, she says, her voice quavering. We'll give you anything. Anything. The old man is a little more practical. If I were a few decades younger, I'd be out there myself. I saw action in the Battle of Tanglefort, when we freed the Vale from Renshaw rule. You nod appreciatively. That battle happened about 30 years ago, and was said to be fierce. You're not surprised. Elric Brumont definitely carries himself like an old veteran. I can't put my sword forward anymore. I can't put my sword forward anymore, but I can offer you gold, my friend. 2,000 pieces of it, to be exact. Go to the first entry, adventure begins. I'm assuming we're taking that because we came in broke, and it was pretty obvious that we needed money. So 2,000 gold is probably going to pique our interest. So I'm going to assume that I said yes. I also seem to think that the module here assumes that I said yes too. Wouldn't you know? Okay. At dawn the next day, following the few scraps of information you have, you saddle your horse and ride to the outskirts of town. The townsfolk pay you little mind as you go, casting you the occasional glance. The journey to Weathercote Wood lies due east, but is no short ride. The captain of the guard tells you that the Death Knight has always been seen in a small patch of wood that juts out from the western side of Weathercote, like a wart on a giant's nose. By midday, you reach a sign that tells you have another 15 miles to go. You should make it there by nightfall. Not far past the sign is a small inn and tavern. An old man sits on a chair in the afternoon sun and raises a tankard of ale as you pass. Let's drink for many miles, the old man calls to you. Come, sit, I'll buy you an ale. Hint. Okay. However, hover over the choices and click to navigate to your section. Okay. Do I accept the old man's invitation, or do I keep going? Let's have a drink, shall we? Click on Brewski. You tie your horse up to the tavern's porch and join the old man, who directs a young boy to bring you a frothing tankard of ale. The boy also brings a bowl of stew for you to eat. What brings you out this way? The old man asks eventually. Do I tell him my quest? Yeah, sure. Let's tell him my quest. Let's see. Quest combo. You find yourself telling the old man all about your quest to find the mysterious knight and return Derek Brumont to his grandparents. The old man nods solemnly. The Death Knight, he says quietly, leans forward in his chair. Local legend, they say, but What? You ask. He straightens up, looking you straight in the eye. It's no legend, he says firmly. I was a boy when they hung him, from the red tree in Weathercote Wood. The old man goes on to tell the story. The man who would become the Death Knight was once a good man who came from a village in the far south. After his wife died from the pox, he left the village, taking his only son with him as his squire, eager to teach him the ways of the righteous warrior. But a large band of brigands ambushed them on the road, shot the knight with a poisoned dart, and kidnapped his son. They left a note pinned in the ground with a dagger, demanding the knight plunder the treasury in Orlbar and deliver the gold to them. The knight did so, almost dying in the process, but the town guard pursued him. From town. When the kidnappers saw the knight coming with the authorities close behind, they killed the poor boy and fled. Upon finding his son's body, the knight swore vengeance on the bandits and vowed to pursue them into the ends of the world. Unwilling to be taken by the town guard, the knight drew his weapon to resist the arrest. The ensuing fight was bloody, but the knight slew all who came against him. When the fight was over, the knight pursued the bandits deeper into the wood, but lost their tracks in the undergrowth. His rage deepened until the bloodlust and madness possessed him entirely, driven insane at the thought of his son's killers escaping unpunished. None would cross his path and live until the bandits had been brought to justice at the tip of his blade. Eventually, more soldiers had come from Loudwater to capture the insane knight. When they finally did, the old man concludes, they hung him in the Weathercoat Wood from a red tree. The old man looks down, but his unfulfilled quest to find his son's killers brought him back as an undead. A Death Knight, they call him now, and since then, every few years or so, a boy will go missing. He's looking for a squire, you see, someone to help him on his quest. You take a moment to digest all of this information and drink from your tankard. After a while, you thank the old man for the company and the information and are on your way. All right, let's keep going. It's late when you finally reach Weathercoat Wood, some 55 miles east of Orlbar. There on the wood's edge, you camp and let your horse run free. You won't be needing him for a while. Weathercoat Wood is thick, the foliage dense, towering walls of green. And in there somewhere, if the information you have is to be trusted, is the boy Derek Brumont. You settle down in your bedroll, the embers of fire keeping you warm well into the night. After a full day's riding, it doesn't take long for you to fall into a deep slumber. The sound of a nearby river lulling you to sleep. You wake just before dawn, fully rested. Long rest. But a noise instantly puts you on guard. From somewhere nearby comes a wet, slavering sound. Quietly, you pick up your weapon and move forward stealthily. When you are some 100 or so feet away, whatever is lurking catches your scent, and you hear it running quickly away. Okay. Only dim starlight shows any detail, and all you can see is a darkened shape moving through the night towards the woods. Do I have a ranged weapon? If so, and wish to attack using it? Well, I don't have a ranged weapon, but I do have ranged spells, so I'm gonna say let's just do that. Shoot after. Your target is about 100 feet away. Sorcerer's Burst is 120 feet. You lift your weapon, taking a quick assessment of the conditions, and fire. Make a ranged attack at disadvantage unless you have dark vision. Do we have dark vision? Oh, we don't, do we? I do. Dark vision, 60 feet. Perfect. So I don't have to make a disadvantage. AC 17 or whatever's fleeing from you. All right, let's Sorcerer's Burst this thing. Oh. Well, that's not good. If you miss, go to miss. Okay. You watch the black shape scurry away back into the cover of the Weathercoat Wood and curse your poor aim. Yeah. That burst just went totally wild, didn't it? Then walk forward to where the creature had been before you startled it and sent it running for the trees. Go to the entry Dead Nelly. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Dead Nelly. Okay. You walk forward to where the beast had been before making all that noise that woke you. There, twitching in its death throes, is the horse you rode from Orlbar. No! They've already killed my horse. I've only been at this for like 15 minutes. Aw. Gritting your teeth in anger, you take out your weapon and quickly put the poor beast out of its misery. The first rays of dawn begin to creep into the sky. With a sigh of resignation, you wipe the horse's blood from your weapon and begin to trek towards the wood's edge. The morning is peaceful, in contrast to the savagery you've just witnessed, and a chorus of birds greet the dawn with the calls that echo off the low hills of the surrounding landscape. As you near Weathercoat Wood and can see down the single path that leads into its depths, you see that little light seems to penetrate in through the canopy. Night still hides beneath the mossy boughs and dark green vines that thread the ancient trees together. You step onto the path and enter Weathercoat Wood. Who knows what fate awaits you within these shadowed depths? So that's going to be it for this introduction. This one was a little short. I basically wanted to just kind of try out the layout and get through the first little introduction and show you who my character was, show you how this is going to work. Also, because I realized I need to load way more of these maps in for this next part, which I've not prepared for. So I will get those loaded in. And the next time when we get back together, we will start into the actual exploration portion of this. So typically, I'm planning on making these episodes somewhere between 30 to 60 minutes, a little bit shorter. This one, again, a little bit shorter on the short side because I wanted to, again, just show what this was, how it was going to work. So I will give you a little preview, I guess, what it will look like where we're going next in the maps. So I do have this one, but what I will be doing is loading in some of the rest so that we can actually do this little bit of a dungeon crawl. And just the way that it works, you see there are multiple choices here. Like I can go to this one, 2, 3, 5. I only loaded in like 2 or 3 of these because I didn't realize how it worked because again I didn't read ahead. So next time we'll pick up and we'll actually go through and see how this is going to play out. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this. It was kind of a fun little thing for me to do, something totally new. And so far, I'm enjoying the story, and it does kind of play like one of those choose your own adventure books, which I find fascinating. But with actually letting the dice make some of the decisions for you. So anyway, that will be it for this one. Thank you for checking this out. We will see you next week with episode 2. Or I guess maybe that's episode 1. This is the prologue. I don't know. Does it really matter? Does it really matter? Thanks for checking us out. See you next time.